So we all know that last year's NHL trade deadline was pretty much just as exciting as watching paint dry because of the lack of big trades that went through. As a result, there was possibly no way that the 2017's version of the event would be just as lackluster, right? I mean, we had a lot more big name players that were available on the market. The looming expansion draft would definitely play a huge factor due to teams trying to get as much as they could for pending free agents, and the regular NHL draft that seems weaker than normal, and lo and behold, the NHL disappointed again. Are you not entertained? Actually, yes, I am still not entertained and still a little pissed off and confused at what the Flyers did, but that's for another video I'll be making, which you guys should totally watch. Anyways, I'm here to break down pretty much every other trade that was made during the deadline that goes far back as February 23rd when the Pittsburgh Carolina trade was made. I'll only be spending or talking a majority of the time during this video on the trades that I thought were really significant, and I'll be giving my overall winners and losers of the deadline as well. So shall we begin? Yes, let's shall. First trade. The Pittsburgh Penguins got Ryan Hainsey from the Carolina Hurricanes for a 2017 second round pick and Danny Cristo. Pittsburgh overpaid like all hell, but they needed defensemen bad due to all their injuries on the back end. Carolina clearly the winner in this trade, getting a massive amount for a veteran defenseman like Hainsey with zero playoff experience. The Anaheim Ducks got Patrick Eaves from the Dallas Stars for a 2017 conditional second round pick. Overpaid like all hell, again, especially for a guy like Patrick Eaves. He's having one heck of a year so far, but once again, he's definitely not worth a second. And the fact that that second round pick becomes a first if the Anaheim Ducks make it all the way to the third round, good lord Dallas, you guys might have gotten a steal with this trade. The Chicago Blackhawks got Thomas Jurko from the Detroit Red Wings for a 2017 third round pick. Chicago has a knack for turning mediocre players into studs. Look at Richard Panik. Jurko could be that next guy for them, especially surrounded by all the star talent like Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, Marian Hossa, Artemi Panarin, etc. Tampa Bay Lightning acquires Stéphane Fournier from Arizona for Jeremy Morin. Nobody cares. The Los Angeles Kings acquire Ben Bishop, a 2017 fifth round pick and a 2017 conditional round pick from the Tampa Bay Lightning for Eric Cernak, Peter Budaj, and a 2017 seventh round pick. Shows how much LA really cared about Peter Budaj saving their season, am I right? For one, Tampa Bay's return on this deal for Bishop was bad, like really bad. But you had to get at least something for him because you knew he was walking at the end of the season anyway. The thing is though, why didn't LA make this trade months ago when Quick got injured in the first place? Granted, you would have to pay a ton more than you did at the time, but it still makes a little sense as to why LA made this deal in the first place when 1, Quick is finally back, and 2, they aren't even in a playoff spot at the moment. Eric Cernak is a 19-year-old prospect, so we'll see how he turns out for Tampa, but I can't even really give a winner for this deal due to the fact that both teams dropped the ball as to when a deal should have been made for Ben Bishop or LA's need at the current time. The Minnesota Wild acquire Martin Hanzal, Ryan White, and a 2017 fourth from Arizona for Grayson Downing, 2017 first, 2018 second, and a 2019 fourth. Damn Arizona, you scary. If the Wild can either not get matched up with the Hawks or somehow beat the Hawks if they match up in the playoffs, they are going to the Cup Finals without question. Their center depth now with Martin Hanzal and offensive depth as an overall is scary good. Listen to this. Zach Parise, Marcus Granlund, Nino Niederreiter, Jason Zucker, Eric Haula, Martin Hanzal, Mikko Koivu, Jason Pominville, Charlie Coyle. There are threats up and down the entire offensive lineup. Not to mention you have Matthew Dumba, Ryan Suter, Jonas Brodin, Marco Scandella, and Jared Spurgeon on defense with Devin Dubnyk in net. That's scary good! The Minnesota Wild want to win now, and they have a pretty good shot of doing so. Arizona, on the other hand, gets hella draft picks to continue building their young future team up. They're definitely top 5 or best prospects at the current moment, and this trade only helps them out further. Still confused as to why they held on to Ram Verbata and Shane Doan, but still, they did okay in this deal. The Arizona Coyotes acquired Teemu Pukkanen from the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. Waiver pickups are fun. The Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Brian Boyle from the Tampa Bay Lightning for Byron Froese and a 2017 second. The Leafs wanted a playoff, penalty-killing, and veteran for their lineup. Nobody better than Brian Boyle. Size, grit, great mentor for the young team like the Leafs. Unless a major collapse happens, they are in the playoffs. They won't be in it for long, but they'll be in it nonetheless. The Dallas Stars acquired Greg Pattern and a 2017 fourth from the Montreal Canadiens for Jordy Ben. I'm starting to think that having brothers on the same team nowadays really doesn't work anymore. It's a depth move for Montreal, more defense for them. The Vancouver Canucks made 2 trades during the deadline, acquiring Jonathan Dahlen from the Ottawa Senators for Alex Burrows, and acquiring Nikolai Goudobin and a 2017 4th-round pick from the San Jose Sharks for Yannick Hansen. The condition on that 4th-round pick is very interesting as well. If the San Jose Sharks end up winning the Stanley Cup, that 2017 4th becomes a first. No in between. 4th, first, if they win the Cup. That's insane. Can we all take a minute to give a clap for Jim Benning on that one? This guy has been criticized for making very questionable trades in the past. He made out like a bandit on trade deadline day and could arguably be the biggest winner of the day. To get this kind of return for Alexander Burrows and Yannick Hansen is ridiculous. 2 prospects and a 4th is a very good return for those 2 players. Both Ottawa and San Jose need some depth in their lineups, and both Hansen and Burrows give that depth in their respective skill sets. The Washington Capitals acquire Kevin Shattenkirk and Phoenix Copley from the St. Louis Blues for a 2017 first, a 2019 conditional pick, Zach Sanford, and Brad Malone. One phrase, Cup or bust. The Caps, the best team in the NHL, need to win the Cup this year. Not only do they make their defense that much better with Kevin Shattenkirk, a guy who put up at least 30 to 40 points per year, you also take away your chances for opponents like the New York Rangers and Pittsburgh Penguins from getting any better. And honestly, they really didn't give up too much for him in the first place. The first round pick is going to be a late 20s pick in a weak draft. Brad Malone was a depth player at best. And Zach Sanford does sting a little bit because Caps fans said he was supposed to be a future second or third line player for them. But Washington still held on to their major prospects in the organization, like Madison Bowey and Jacob Brannett, just for example. The Blues get a nice return for a guy that was going to walk and test free agency at the end of the year, and that's pretty much all you can ask for. The New York Rangers acquire Brendan Smith from the Detroit Red Wings for a 2017 third and a 2018 second. They couldn't get Kevin Shattenkirk, so they had to settle for Ben Smith. Lols. The Ottawa Senators acquired Victor Stahlberg from the Carolina Hurricanes for a 2017 third. Playoff experience depth? Question mark? The New York Rangers acquired Dan Kanichi from the Buffalo Sabres for Matt Bodie. This is the only trade Buffalo did at the deadline. Yikes. The Chicago Blackhawks acquired Johnny Oduya from the Dallas Stars for Mark McNeil and a 2018 4th round conditional pick. Oduya want to come back to the Chicago Blackhawks? The answer is yes. Montreal Canadiens acquire Brendan Davidson from the Edmonton Oilers for David Desharnais. Not too sure on how to feel about this trade. Montreal and Edmonton fans, you could definitely weigh on this one. I can't really pick a winner on it. I don't know what's worse, the fact that Edmonton liked David Desharnais or the fact that they gave away a 26-year-old young defenseman like Davidson. Even though he was probably going to be expansion draft eligible, still, very weird trade. The Montreal Canadiens acquired Steve Ott from the Detroit Red Wings for a 2018 6th. Holy grit, Batman. The Colorado Avalanche acquired Brendan Ranford from the Arizona Coyotes for Joe Whitney. Colorado sees you, Buffalo, and will do you one better. The Florida Panthers acquired Thomas Vanek from the Detroit Red Wings for a 2017 third and Dylan McElraith. That awkward moment when Detroit got less for Thomas Vanek after a season that he's having this year than other teams got for players a lot older than even him. A third isn't too bad, but I expected at least a second. Florida has some pretty good scoring depth now that their entire lineup is healthy again. They're going to be pushing for the playoffs for sure. The Montreal Canadiens acquired Dwight King from the LA Kings for a 2018 conditional fourth. Holy grit, Batman. The Los Angeles Kings acquired Jerome McGinley from the Colorado Avalanche for a 2018 conditional fourth. Just kidding, Buffalo. Now we're done. I'm still scratching my head for LA. I guess they think Jerome McGinley can contribute better than Dwight King would have done for the team. You do you, LA. You do you. The Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Mike McKenna from the Florida Panthers for Adam Wilcox. Sure. Edmonton Oilers acquired Justin Fontaine from the New York Rangers for Taylor Beck. AHL trades are fun. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquired Kyle Quincy from the New Jersey Devils for Dalton Prout. Jersey, come on. Really? That's the best you guys could have gotten for Kyle Quincy? And he's a goon defenseman? The Montreal Canadiens acquired Andreas Martinson from the Colorado Avalanche for Sven Adrighetto. How many fourth-line players do the Montreal Canadiens really need? The Tampa Bay Lightning, as a whole, acquire a 2018 fourth-round pick. The Philadelphia Flyers acquire Valtteri Filppula, a 2017 fourth from Tampa, and a 2017 seventh from Tampa. And the Pittsburgh Penguins acquire Mark Streit. I'll talk more in depth about this trade multiple trades in my other video that is focused on the Flyers, so definitely check that out if you want to hear from a Flyers fan what I thought about this deal. The Nashville Predators acquired P.A. Parento from the New Jersey Devils for a 6th round pick. New Jersey, stop! A 6th? The Calgary Flames acquired Curtis Lazar and Michael Koska from the Ottawa Senators for a 2017 second and Jyrki Jokipaka. This could be a low-key major steal for the Calgary Flames. Curtis Lazar is having an off year, that's for sure, but he's still only 21. Ottawa got a pretty penny in return for him as well, getting a second and a depth defenseman like Jokipaka. It's a very good trade for both teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Eric Fair, Steve Oleski, and a 2017 fourth from Pittsburgh for Frankie Corrado. I know the hashtag Free Frankie is a thing, so I guess it finally happened. The Boston Bruins acquired Drew Stafford from the Winnipeg Jets for a 6th round conditional pick. Stafford is known to have hot and cold streaks during the season, so if he can get going, the Bruins might have really nailed this trade from the Jets as a real big steal. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquired Lori Korpikoski from the Dallas Stars for Dylan Hetherington. Corpy 2.0 has arrived in Columbus. The Anaheim Ducks acquired Spencer Abbott and Sam Carrick from the Chicago Blackhawks for Keaton Helgerson and a 2019 7th. AHL trades are fun. So that covers, once again, the lackluster trade deadline in the NHL. So who are the winners and losers? In regards to receiving players, Washington and Minnesota are the clear front-run winners. Two of the best teams in the NHL at the moment made their offense and defense better and are serious threats for long playoff runs this season. They both want to win the Cup this year and made corresponding moves to do so without damaging their futures all too much. More Minnesota than Washington, but still. As for prospects, Vancouver and Arizona for sure. The return that Jim Benning got for Burroughs and Hansen, and Arizona continuing to make their future better, were very good moves. Solid day for both GMs. Colorado. Now, it might be odd that I'm throwing Colorado in here, but listen to me. They didn't deal their best players. Why are they winners? Well, that's exactly why I'm putting them on my winners list. Joe Sakic had way too big of an asking price for guys like Matt Duchene, Gabriel Landeskog, Tyson Barrie, etc. Patience is a virtue. If he wants to trade one of these guys, the draft will be the best time for him to do so. Teams will want to fill needs more and willing to pay a lot more at the draft than at this deadline. Good on Joe Sakic for keeping the price high. Losers. To start, the New York Islanders. Then again, I'm not surprised of it because it's Garth Snow after all. He didn't move Halak. He didn't bring anything when the Islanders are right there fighting for the Leafs for that final spot. Major slip up for the Islanders during trade deadline day. The Buffalo Sabres were up there as well, only making one trade for an AHL player swap. Definitely not a playoff team, and they still held on to a bunch of their veteran players on one-year deals like Brian Giunta, Cody Franzen, and Dmitry Kulikov. I really expected them to make a move and kind of surprised they didn't do much. The Las Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, come on guys, who really wanted the Knights to make at least one trade for something during the deadline? It would have been really fun to see, but alas. So that'll wrap it up for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I didn't really go crazy in depth with all the trades, but I went over every trade anyway, even though I said I wasn't. Anyway, I thought I gave an appropriate brief answer and my thoughts on each trade. Like I mentioned earlier, if you guys want to see or hear my opinions on the Flyers and what they did, re-signs and trades at the deadline, be sure to check that video out. Link will be in either on the screen or in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like the video, comment on your thoughts on the deadline, and subscribe if you guys are new and want to continue to see these NHL news videos like these on the channel. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for watching.